This is the Pulse Metrics Show, episode 6. Welcome back, everybody, to the show. I am your host, Pulse Metrics, a.k.a. Jackson Girding. We have got a lot to talk about today, starting with some NBA Conference Finals Game 1s that just went on, starting with, obviously, we had the Spurs defeating the OKC Thunder, which I can't help but beg to question, is Victor Wembanyama the new face of the NBA, and is he the new best in the world? That is a question that has been surfacing a lot lately through many NBA fans, especially San Antonio Spurs fans. I'm going to have to say Wemby is an alien. We all know that. I mean, dropped over 40 points, over 20 rebounds, had 3 blocks, and hit an insane logo shot to tie the game up and send the game to overtime. I can't help but think, I do genuinely believe that Victor Wembanyama is the new best player in the NBA today. Because I feel like Victor Wembanyama is the perfect combination of all of the skills that you look for in a basketball player. He's got perfect height, 7'5", over 230-pound monster. He is insane defensively, won the unanimous Defensive Player of the Year award, and even with how big he is, he's not just a shot blocker. No, he can lock you down on the perimeter too. At 7'5", he can do that. I've never seen a player who is that tall be able to guard so well on not just the inside, but in the perimeter too. He can shoot very well. Obviously, he hit that logo 3. He can shoot in the perimeter. He can shoot mid-range. He can post you up and then spin and shoot, fade away. He's insanely accurate. His true shooting percentage is always through the roof, no matter what team he's going up against. He has an insane post game. Well, to be realistic, at 7'5", you should have an insane post game. But he has great handles. He just has the perfect combination of everything. Like, he's a leader to his team as well. And you can see just by looking at the net rating, you can see the impact he makes for the San Antonio Spurs. If you took the San Antonio Spurs and you saw what that team does without Victor Wembanyama, I guarantee you they're barely a play-in team without Victor Wembanyama. That is the impact that Victor Wembanyama makes and creates on this team. It's nothing like I have ever seen by a player other than maybe LeBron James or Steph Curry in this modern NBA era. But yeah, I just feel like the way, like, nobody can get a shot off him. I'm speaking a little informally now, but nobody can physically get a shot off him. Like, usually when a player, like I saw a couple times, like Jalen Williams, when they're driving to the basket, they don't ever try to get a layup. They kick it out. And it creates more isolation and it winds down the shot clock more, which the Thunder have had to do a couple times where they've had to rush to try to create some sort of offense because they can't get inside because Wembanyama is just going to block their shot. That is the impact that Victor Wembanyama creates, especially on defense for this team. Like I said, dunked over Chet Holmgren and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander both at the same time because, they're not going to be able to stop him. Especially Chet, who claims to be the best defensive player and is a very cocky player. We all know that. Came in second for Defensive Player of the Year. So he obviously does have a lot of defensive talent, is a great shot blocker. But he doesn't compare to Wemby. Nobody on that OKC team does other than maybe SGA. So my stance there is not changing. I do think it will be Spurs in 6 because we just saw that game. That's as tight as it's going to get in OKC. That's as close as the Thunder is going to get to beating the Spurs. They may take a couple games, but overall, Spurs in 6, no doubt about it. My next topic. Is it panic time for the Cleveland Cavaliers? I want you guys to voice yourself about this in the comments, but I think it is. Much like what I said about the Spurs, that is as close as the Cavaliers are going to get to beating the New York Knicks, I feel like. A 22-point comeback. The largest in Knicks history since 1970, during the Willis Reed, Walt Frazier era. That, I've never seen a comeback quite like that. I know you had the Pistons and Magic game, that comeback, but that didn't feel as valuable as this comeback does. And I just put a video out about Jalen Brunson and how I think he's at the same level, if not better, than Luka Doncic at this point. Jalen Brunson is unreal. This guy, when you need him the most, he is going to come through for you. This guy does not miss a shot in clutch time. Multiple times, he was hitting floater after three-pointer after floater to help the Knicks come back. And I saw this on First Take, they were doing lists. Who are your top 5 players, NFL or NBA, that you would want if you're trying to win a game? The players were Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Steph Curry, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and then they had Jalen Brunson in that mix, which is more than reasonable. He's a clutch player of the year winner, and when you just use the eye test, he makes his team better. I voiced this with my Luka and Jalen Brunson take. Even though Luka averages more assists, Jalen Brunson, I feel like, is the better playmaker. There's a big difference between assists and playmaking, and I feel like Jalen Brunson does that. He's a less selfish player. I mean, I think Luka is the better overall scorer, but I will say, give Jalen Brunson as many shots per game as Luka does, and I think Jalen Brunson will score as many, if not more, points per game than Luka Doncic does. Like, Jalen Brunson just has that, different mindset. He has that Mamba mentality, I will say. I know I'm glazing just a little bit, but look at the net rating. I already showed. The Knicks have a negative net rating with Jalen Brunson off the court. That is the impact that Jalen Brunson creates offensively for the New York Knicks. I cannot find a single player other than maybe the other top stars who may have a negative net rating or have that big an impact on offense like Jalen Brunson. So yeah, in clutch time, this guy does not miss. But that brings me over to the Cavaliers. Where in the world do the Cavaliers go from here? And I already said this. Do not even think about blaming Donovan Mitchell for this loss. This guy was in his bag tonight. Almost 30 points, 29 points to be specific. He does not fall under pressure. James Harden does. What I saw versus James Harden in overtime was absolutely disgusting. He was airballing threes in clutch time. And that's honestly kind of the story of his entire career. That sums up his entire career because that's what he does. A negative .19 rating in overtime. He shrunk in overtime like he always does. Finished with 15 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, shooting only 31.3% from the field and 1 for 8 from 3. 40.2 true shooting, which is insanely low. Had 2 stocks, a block, and a steal. But by James Harden standards, superstar standards that we all know James Harden can be, that was a insanely disappointing game. And James Harden was arguably the reason his airballing threes, That was arguably the reason why the Cavaliers lost that game. You want to talk about impact. James Harden almost creates a negative impact. I know I might be over-exaggerating this stuff, but it's just the truth. It's just what my eyes tell me. So yeah, James Harden, he's got to get it together. I don't think he will, but if he doesn't, the Cavaliers are in for one rough series. One thing I want to elaborate on in the UFC, a big piece of news that everyone's been talking about that's been surfacing on social media, the notorious Conor McGregor will officially return on July 11th to face the great Max Blessed Holloway. The King is back. Now, if you're an actual hardcore UFC fan, which I am, you're going to expect Conor McGregor to lose. There's just no way a guy like Conor McGregor, who in his prime was the best fighter in the world, there's just no way that he's going to come back after 5 years from being away from the octagon with that nasty of an injury versus Dustin Poirier. There's no way he's going to come back and win. But what I do want to see out of Conor McGregor is at least, a good fight. I want to see a great hard-earned fight. I want to see a lot of throwbacks from Conor McGregor in like press conferences. If we're going to make this work, now I obviously say that I don't think this fight is actually going to happen, but if it does, I want to see a lot. I want to see the best that I can see out of Conor McGregor. Max Holloway is still in the peak prime of his career. Well, maybe not in the peak prime. He may be getting a little older. He might be out of his prime. But Max Holloway is still an insanely great fighter. Obviously. He's one of the best strikers / boxers, at least in the lightweight division. So I have no doubt that if I had to bet my money on who was going to win this fight, I would probably pick Max Holloway. But Conor McGregor matches up well. He's going to be a little rusty. We all know that. But Max Holloway, if there's anybody who can come back and be the dominant fighter that they once were, it is Conor McGregor. Because Conor McGregor is one of the best pure strikers that I've ever seen in my time watching the UFC. And I've watched the UFC since I was 7 years old. Around that time. Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz was really the first rivalry that I ever got into. And that was a while ago. That was almost 10 years ago to this point. So yeah, Conor McGregor helped me open my eyes to the UFC. If I'm talking from a logical standpoint, again, Max Holloway will probably beat Conor McGregor. This fight is probably just to make money, make both guys money, because last time they fought, Conor McGregor beat Max Holloway, but again, that was over 10 years ago. Max is a changed fighter. If I had to make a prediction for this fight, I'm probably saying Max Holloway wins via unanimous decision. If I had to bet my money, Max Holloway, unanimous decision. But this is going to be an insanely great and fun fight to watch. My final topic that I want to elaborate on is who are the way too early NFL MVP candidates for this upcoming season. I made a video about this way back, but I want to resurface some things. If we're going non-positional value, then I have a couple of good candidates that I want to name that are not just quarterbacks. One of them, in my opinion, being Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson could be a way too early MVP candidate because I think Justin Jefferson is set up to have an insane year. I'm talking almost 1,900 yards. Justin Jefferson is coming for vengeance. Justin Jefferson obviously knows the disappointing season that he had last season where he didn't even have above 5 touchdowns and barely broke 1,000 yards. Granted, he had 9 as his quarterback. And looking at what 9 did, Kyler Murray is a huge, huge step up from J.J. McCarthy. I'm sure I don't need to educate you on that. You guys all know that. I would be concerned for you if you didn't know that. But yeah, Justin Jefferson, I feel like, is going to return to his old dominant ways. He's the best wide receiver in football, in my opinion. And he's going to be he's going to be the Saquon Barkley of this season, where he puts up such great numbers to where you have to consider him into the MVP conversation. Because I think Justin Jefferson could win the Triple Crown. Not only that, but break the all-time wide receiver single season yard season for this upcoming season. Again, people may speculate, what are you talking about? Kyler Murray is his quarterback. He's not doing that. Why not? Why can't he? Kyler Murray still has a lot of arm talent. He's still a very dynamic quarterback. Why can't he just go ahead and give Justin Jefferson his breakout season? Well, not breakout, because Justin Jefferson's already broken out. He's already a proven wide receiver. I don't know why I said breakout. His next big season, because he's primed to have at least 10 more of these seasons going forward. Why can't Kyler Murray give that to him? Why can't Kyler Murray give him a great season? Throw to him nonstop. Because Kyler Murray is more talented than any other quarterback that Justin Jefferson's ever had. What, you're going to say that Kirk Cousins, Nick Mullins, Josh Dobbs, J.J. McCarthy, you're going to tell me that any of those guys are more talented than Kyler Murray? Get out of here. I think Justin Jefferson is without a doubt an MVP candidate if we're not doing positional value this upcoming season. Now, if I am going to elaborate on a quarterback, why not Caleb Williams? If the Bears are set to have one of the best seasons out of the NFC. If they do that, and Caleb Williams also performs well, like has a great touchdown to interception ratio, is accurate, fixes those accuracy problems, and throws for a lot of yards, then why not discuss him for an MVP candidate? Because Caleb Williams has one of the best upsides in the NFL out of all the quarterbacks, I feel like. He is Captain Clutch. He's the Iceman. He's got ice water in his veins. That last playoff run clearly proved that with the Packers and the Rams game. So I feel like there's no reason why Caleb Williams cannot have this type of season where he is an MVP. He's going to be a star in this league. And if he goes out there with Rome Odunze and Luther Burden as his two top weapons, again, no disrespect to those guys, but I think even they would admit that they're no Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase or no Puka Nacua themselves. Caleb Williams is, in my opinion, is going to surface as like a Drake May, to where he makes it work, or Josh Allen. They make it work with what they have. So mediocre receivers, if they put up great numbers, in my opinion, they'll be locks to be candidates for MVP, or at least candidate with Caleb Williams for MVP. My third candidate, or my third sleeper candidate, I feel like, Dak Prescott. I hate to include a Cowboy in here, but Dak Prescott, his consistency, putting up consistent 4,300 yard seasons, over 35 touchdowns, barely any interceptions. If the Cowboys have a breakout season, and the Cowboys, fix that defense, and they do put that offense up to good use, Dak Prescott could become an MVP candidate, or it may even win the MVP. I know I'm an Eagles fan. I absolutely hate to say this. I'm trying to show as little bias as I can. Dak Prescott, if he wasn't a Cowboy, people would give him a lot more respect than they actually do. I mean, George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson, an improved offensive line, an improved defense. The Cowboys could, at best, their ceiling is 12-5, and their floor is 7-10, I feel like. They have an insane difference between the ceiling and the floor. If they can reach their ceiling, then Dak Prescott could have an MVP-like season. Because we all know that Dak Prescott is one of the best pure passers in the NFL. So yeah, I mean, why not have him considered for MVP? These are all sleepers. But that is going to do it for this episode of the Pulse Metrics Show. Please make sure you are liking these videos. Please make sure to subscribe. You know I appreciate any and all help that comes with it. So without further ado, I will see you guys the next time I upload on the show, and I will be uploading daily, so you guys can also, like those videos and comment. Comment any concerns that you may have with any of my takes. I'll be reading the comments. So without further ado, I'll see y'all guys the next time I upload an amazing video. Take care, everybody.